Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my official review of ZF-6, the latest ship which came out of the dockyards in the World of Warships game. So, for the past couple of weeks, I have been grinding through the stages because this ship has 22 stages in order to be completed. Now, you can actually fulfill 19 of them by grinding through the combat missions and collecting the random rewards from them. These range from your in-game currency to all sorts of signals to all sorts of camos. It will depend from which combat missions you try to prioritize. However, the last couple of stages need to be fulfilled or completed with doubloons. Each stage will cost you 2,200 doubloons, which means that if we would go to the premium shop, the best alternative for the doubloons is to acquire the 2,500 doubloons in each bundle. This means that it would add up to 25 euros plus minus in order to fulfill the ship in case you have the time to actually grind through some of these combat missions. Some of them are really ridiculous. However, if you really want to cheese this and avoid spending more money, you can of course go and compete against the AI in the random battles. This will help you speed up the process much faster. However, if you do not have the time and you were considering if the ship can be purchased entirely by doubloons, yes, it can be. It's kind of hard to put it to monetary value due to what bundles of doubloons you might be considering purchasing, but based on my calculations, the overall price of the ship would add up to over 178 euros and 20 cents if you would want to purchase all of the stages for ZF-6. Now, what do you therefore get for either 25 or 178 euros? Well, let's take a look at it, and I will be leaving timestamps for you in the video description so that we can break it down, and in case you are looking for a specific section of the video, it will be a bit easier for you to navigate. So, the ZF-6, it's a tier 9 German destroyer. You have 4 guns with 138 millimeters. You have 2 torpedo tubes with 4 torpedoes in each tube, which have 8 kilometers of range. This ship is effectively a gunboat. The torpedoes are not your primary armament, unfortunately, and as a tier 9 vessel, you will most likely go in matches against even tier 10 destroyers. This means that especially if you manage to catch lots of Japanese destroyers, their torpedoes will definitely outrange yours. So you need to be careful and therefore invest lots of points in the equipment and skill points into not being easily detected or being highly maneuverable. So, when it comes to the overall ship survivability, because we are a gunboat, this might mean that you will be brawling with other destroyers. In the general state, when you receive the ship with a level 10 commander, the basic survivability or the HP is 17,000. This is why captain skill like the survivability expert will be crucial, as your HP will be pushed up to 24,000 and it will give you a bit of a higher advantage. Now, if you want to actually contest capture points, I do suggest the following strategy. You first try to move towards one, however, you wait for the enemy to first try to contest it, launching the torpedoes and then trying to find the enemy, utilizing one of your consumables to open fire and have the rapid reload in order to take down their HP faster than they can take down yours. One thing which you need to keep in mind, however, is that whatever damage you sustain with this ship at the start of the match, you will not be able to recover. This ship does not have any repair, so whatever damage you sustain at the start of the match will heavily affect your effectiveness at the end of the match and how much you will be able to help your team. So, the guns. The guns are fun. They work really well if you utilize islands for covers or if you pop a smoke and start shooting rapidly at the enemy. I suggest to use the HE rounds for enemy destroyers, as you can incapacitate their torpedoes or engines and deal overall damage because most of your shells will penetrate the target. If you would utilize AP rounds on the destroyers, most likely you will over-penetrate and the damage will be heavily reduced. So, when it comes to cruisers, if they show you broadside, I do suggest the use of the AP rounds. I was actually even able to land a Citadel hit on the enemy cruiser, however I had to utilize the rapid fire consumable and it looked like an acupuncture where I was landing hundreds of hits in order to find the right one, so it wasn't really the most effective practice. And then there are battleships which you can weather down using your HE rounds. AP will not work that well on the battleships from my experience, so try to use the HE. As I mentioned, you have 13.8 kilometers, so you will most likely have to get a bit closer, and therefore you should invest into your detectability in order to not be spotted and receive damage from the enemy ships. The reason behind that is following. If we take a look at the ship's armor, we see that the hull is separated into 3 parts. Unfortunately, all 3 parts have the same armor. They all have 19 millimeters of armor on them. This means that your ship can be extremely squishy, so if you come across any battleships which spam HE, any cruisers which are deadly with HE, or any rapid fire destroyers with HE, you might receive lots of damage. I have had matches where even my torpedo tubes got destroyed. However, your biggest weakness is at the rear of the ship. The engine of this ship is your Achilles heel. You will need to invest in your equipment and captain skills into maneuverability and engine room protection in order to make sure that your engine remains in functioning state. The reason behind is this ship is highly maneuverable, so if you remain maneuverable, you might be able to dodge plenty of incoming fire, and this will actually help your teammates as the enemy is focusing you instead of them, so they might actually get a couple of salvos on your behalf. However, as I said, this ship has no sustain, so whatever damage you receive, you will have to account for the rest of the match. So the key to this ship is to try and survive or remain as healthy as possible through the start of the match, and then at the end you might be a bit more aggressive with your playstyle. Now, what are the weak points of the armament? Well, I think it is the torpedoes. They have only 8 kilometers of range. It is most unfortunate that this ship will be going against tier 10 ships, which also can include tier 10 carriers, so you really need to be careful what you do. However, surprisingly, the AA on this ship is actually really good. You have even a consumable for the increased effectiveness of your anti-aircraft artillery, and this will reflect further in the captain skills of which you should consider for this beautiful ship. So let's take a look at the equipment and captain skills in the next section of the video. So when it comes to the overall upgrades, I would suggest the following. Main armament modification 1, engine room protection, aiming system modification 1, steering gears modification 1, Or you can consider going with damage control system 2. However, being more mobile is definitely the key to your survival. Concealment system modification 1. I would also suggest the possibility to go for ship consumables modification 1. And then there is the gunfire control system modification 2. This increases your main battery firing range to those 13.8 kilometers. You can of course go with main battery modification 3 in order to have faster reload, but considering the fact that you have access to main battery reload booster, it is kind of redundant, so the added range will definitely work for you. Now, when it comes to the consumables, you have damage control party, smoke generator, defensive AA fire, engine boost, and main battery reload booster. This will be your key in order to brawl with other ships. However, make sure if you are engaging your consumables, the enemy destroyer will not stop firing and go into the concealed state, as you might actually end up wasting your consumable, and trust me, it did happen to me once already, so learn from my mistakes. When it comes to the captain skills, I would suggest the couple of skills as a mandatory option, and then the rest can be redistributed based on your playstyle. In tier 1, you can go either with consumables specialist or preventative maintenance. In the second tier, I have not found a better difference between the pyrotechnician or the extra heavy AP rounds, so you will have to choose. The third tier is where most of your captain skills will be redistributed. As I said, definitely go for survivability expert. It increases your ship's HP quite a lot, and it will help you stay in combat a bit further. Then there is the concealment expert. This will work greatly for you, as it will help you get out of dangerous situation where even a couple of ships can start opening up on your position at the same time. Combine that with the high mobility and the engine room protection, you might actually escape quite a lot of dangerous engagements. However, I do suggest you to play more passively in certain occasions, and if you see too many enemies moving in on your position, try to reposition yourself so that you have the upper advantage. The remaining skills which you should invest as your captain will be able to reach level 21 at the maximum currently, is to consider the main battery and AA, adrenaline rush, superintendent, radio location. Now, radio location might be a bit of a weird choice. However, considering the fact that you will have to find the enemy destroyers if you are both on the contest point, this might actually give you the upper advantage, as you might be able to guide your torpedoes more accurately towards their position, and if you land that lucky shot, it might actually give you the upper hand which you need in order to open up with your main batteries. Other than that, it is completely up to you how you will arrange the captain skills. However, definitely consider taking survivability expert when you receive the ship. The added HP will help you greatly to learn how the ship functions at the start, and that added HP will allow you to stay in the battle a bit longer and help to learn what works and does not work for the ship specifically. So, the ZF-6, the first destroyer from the dockyard. I will be definitely playing this ship a bit more in order to find out what makes it tick. You receive 2 camos, one festive and one is this Turpitz camo. And in case you don't know what I mean by Turpitz camo, let me explain a bit with a visual aid. I'm quite sure you see the resemblance now, right? the ship performs really well. If you get a match against carriers even, you will be surprised how well this ship can handle itself. Fortunately for us the players, only the tier 6 carriers I think currently can be 2 in a match for each team. I have actually had a match in Other Destroyer where I went against 2 enemy carriers and the enemy team had the new Japanese hybrid battleship, the IC, or what's it called, where you control both the torpedo squadron and have access to the main battery armament of a battleship, and being targeted by 3 carriers was really not that much fun. So in this ship it should not happen. The AA will work well for you, however in order to remain undetected you might consider only popping in the AA just in case things start to heat up. And that will be it for the technical part of the video. I'm gonna now shut up and I will show you the fun match which I had in this ship, where I will be actually showcasing a couple of things which work and do not work for this ship. So hopefully you did enjoy the video, and if you did enjoy it, give it a big thumbs up, helps a lot with the algorithm. Also, if you want to see more World of Warships guides or videos, check out the channel, link is in the description. I publish videos like this on a weekly basis. I do mostly playthroughs, but I do comparisons, early in-game reviews, I have some guides, so go check it out. In case you want to subscribe, I will be eternally grateful. And let us move on to the match section. Okay, ladies and gents, so now we are gonna move on to the official match section of the video. Now we're gonna be taking the ZF-6 and we're gonna see how this ship performs. This was my second match in the ship. The first one did go horribly. I did not even manage to get a couple of shots in, and in like 5 minutes our team lost. So yeah, whatever. So we're gonna be taking a look at how the ship performs. We're gonna see a couple of things here which are gonna prove the point that if you go against carriers you're gonna be a nightmare. If you're gonna go against other destroyers you might have some fun with it, and we're gonna be utilizing all of our consumables here. So as we see, the Percival has dropped the patrol on the B point. I cannot just rush in through it, so we're gonna be taking a little side tour behind these islands, and I actually think that this ship might benefit from the cover of the islands quite heavily. So if you will find some decent spot from which you can start spamming shots at the enemy, you might deal some serious damage here. I don't really think ZF-6 was intended for the open waters, so if by miracle you would come across the match in the open ocean, yeah, you're not gonna have a good time. But anyhow, I still keep the entire aircraft off because I do know that the patrol here can be shot down, but also it might draw attention towards me. So here we actually see that Percival is making its way back. I try to go use up the consumable, and rather quickly we start racking up damage. So in like 2 seconds I got to almost 2,300 points there in damage alone. So yeah, unfortunately the German carriers are not best equipped when it comes to dealing with destroyers. You have the rocket crews for cruisers, you have the bombs for battleships, and then the only thing left are the torpedo squadrons. So yeah, not exactly the best, but at least good day for us to shoot down a couple of planes, because we have 1 plane shot down and over 3,000 points of damage already as is. But we see that the B point is being contested, so I'm gonna start to move in there and see if we can actually help out to either stop it or see what else can happen. And the funniest thing is that we're gonna actually run into an ongoing meme here. I think it's called Torpedo Beats, so let's see how it goes. Nice dodge there. Okay, so this is why it's actually important for us to make the rudder shift a part of our equipment. Now I'm gonna pop in the speed because I'm not really sure what I will have to do, and I will go with a widespread on the torpedoes because I cannot really know which one of the enemy 3 destroyers is going against me, and with 8 kilometers of range, the chances are I might not even land a shot. But I'm starting to move in. I'm considering shooting at that battleship, of course, but then again I can get spotted, so it's kind of a dangerous thing to do, especially here in the open water. And here we become detected by the enemy destroyer, but because he was stationary, that one torpedo managed to land and get us a one shot, one kill type of situation. So really lucky there. This is also one of the main reasons why I kind of wanted to showcase this match, because stupidity is the key to success in my case. So yeah, you never know what you might pull off. So I'm gonna pop the smoke here because I'm not sure if the enemy carrier will try to stop me contesting the B point, because testing the B point is a really good way for you to earn experience, or free experience, in case you are grinding through the research bureau and you need to keep researching ships over and over again. So yeah, I'm trying to contest at least one point. There we see the enemy cruiser is hiding behind the island. I would get a pretty damn decent shot here, but unfortunately he stopped. So this is where the angling of the cruiser will come in handy, as these shells do not really do that much, and I would actually have to guide them properly in order for them to be capable of penetrating the hull of Miyako. So yeah, I'm not even switching shells. I'm kind of in a tunnel vision, so I run into our friendly Zara here. So I kind of do apologize in the chat, but luckily for me I did not get like targeted or focused in that time. But the enemy Gunaizinau is here trying to push in between the islands, so I'm trying to follow the friendly Zara. And I'm gonna actually pop the consumable for the fast reload on the main armory, or main battery, sorry. And this will basically turn the sky into a hail of AP rounds. Now, HE might have been a bit better against the Gunaizinau. It is just a tier 7 battleship, but it's still kind of tanky. But you can see in that short amount of time that one random shell managed to knock out my engine, and this is why I think engine protection is really a key in order for you to keep the ship going. And the enemy Gunaizinau dies pretty damn soon to fire of friendly Georgia. So now that all 3 points are mostly contested, we see that the enemy is kind of creeping up on the C point. I will, however, start to push on and see if I can support my team at the A point. There's still the enemy Miyako, there's still Musashi. We don't know where the enemy carrier is located, so trying to somehow systematically help out my team, not just rush to C point, because as I said, 8 kilometers of range on the torpedo tubes is not the best thing, and we have 2 torpedo tubes with 4 torpedoes in each, and there is quite the long reload. We don't have any consumable to speed up the reload on torpedoes. Once again, this is a gunboat, not a torpedo destroyer. So Percival is flying around. We pop in the entire aircraft consumable, and in a couple of seconds we completely annihilate the squadron with the torpedoes. Now, due to that, Miyako here is starting to open up on me, and because the consumable on the reload for the main armament is gonna be off the cooldown, I decide to pop it, and I'm gonna start peppering the sky with the AP rounds, not knowing where exactly is the enemy cruiser going. So it's gonna actually look kind of awkward for me to try and angle those shots correctly. But fortunately for me, the quantity does help here, so I do manage to secure the kill just as the consumable is about to run out, so yay, good for me. That's a second kill, and this one actually, yeah, we see a lot of dodged shells there, but because I wasn't paying attention and the Percival was around, he did manage to shut off my engine. So once again, important to have the engine protection. I actually have the engine protection in this match, and you can see how many times already we had it shut down. So having some of these skills which would help you, or equipment which would help you to stay mobile, will be crucial. Now, because I see Percival there, I switch to HE rounds. Now, I don't know about you, but from my personal experience, if you are shooting AP rounds at the enemy carriers, most of the time you are dealing with over penetration. So I actually do switch even on battleships to HE rounds and start shooting this way at the ship, because I'm guaranteed that those shells are gonna land and they are gonna penetrate and they are going to deal some serious damage. Also, there is that slight chance that we might actually deal fire damage too, but yeah, the carriers, you don't control the damage control or the fire extinguisher, so it's kind of automated. I would prefer it to not be, but if we start to get more into carrier debate here on this video, things are gonna escalate rather quickly. So I keep trying to dodge the Percival's attempt to take me out. He is not guiding these torpedoes really too well. I think at this moment he is just panicking and trying to put some distance in between me and him, and at this range even his secondary starts to open up, so I need to be extra careful to not get destroyed by them, because I'm quite sure many of you have seen videos where the German carriers destroy ships with secondaries. I try to anticipate where Percival might go, but he starts to turn. Funniest thing, I did not really anticipate this, but yeah, he started to turn, so those torpedoes are definitely gonna miss. And because I'm in the smoke trying to protect myself, I do see that there's the enemy Jutland moving around, so I need to be wary about that too, because it can turn rather quickly into 2 versus 1. I do understand that one of them is still a carrier, but hell, if he has any squadrons left, he can still deal a ton of damage to me. So he pops up, I start spamming the shells again, and this is why I think these superintendent would be awesome, because if you get those additional consumables, you might be able to spam those shells a bit faster, and if you try to focus your build a bit more towards utilizing your consumables, it might actually help you out. Now, sure, you might not see a carrier in each match, but you are able to see that having the high mobility set up for the ship, I'm able to do quite a lot. And there you were able to see a couple of AP rounds were landing on the Percival, but most likely they did over penetrate, so I was able to secure that last kill. And here I'm trying to figure out where exactly to do, or where exactly to go. We can see in the top middle that we have quite the point advantage against our enemy. So yeah, it's just 2 last enemy ships. They lost the potential contest on the A point, so I'm gonna start to move around. I do see that Jutland is hiding there in that smoke, but because he was just too damn far, I did know that those torpedoes would be just a waste, and with over a minute on cooldown, I was trying to preserve them just to be on the safe side. So here I'm trying to push onward to the Jutland. I'm trying to actually find him. I get even a bit cocky and I start to write, so by the time he actually pops in, I'm unable to start firing because I'm typing that, where the hell is he? Fun stuff, fun stuff. So yeah, Overall, the ship is interesting. I'm not really sure how I feel about destroyers being a reward for the dockyard. I'm not really sure with which ship specifically Wargaming did start this whole trend. It could have been Puerto Rico, but I wasn't able to acquire that ship. So that's unfortunate, but I did everything or got everything after or including Odin, so that's quite a lot of ships that are sitting in my dockyard and that should get a decent review. Unfortunately, I do not have like the stages of the dockyard recording and such, so I'm not really sure if that should be included or can be excluded. So yeah, overall, pretty damn fun stuff. Here the match ends before I'm able to secure that 4th kill, so Jutland got away and he managed to survive, but a couple of more shells and I'm quite sure he would have been toast. And we can take a look at the overall end screen of the match. So I got 150 shells in, that 1 torpedo hit, which managed to secure one of the kills, 15 aircraft shot down, incapacitation, 3 targets destroyed, 2 fires, 1 capture, pretty damn decent chunk of reward, but I did use the camouflage, and I did use, I think it's the hydro or whichever of the signals it is, which I obtained from one of the containers. So yeah, currently there are quite a lot of combat missions going on where you can be receiving containers, so go and do those in case you are not willing to pay for some of them. I did a video for what you might get out of the premium German destroyer containers or the Battle of Jutland containers, so you can check it out. I'm gonna try to link it to you, and that is gonna be it for the video.